Hello and welcome to another episode of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. My name is Tom Petrini. I'm here with my friends Aaron Blackerby. Aaron, how you doing?
Doing good, ready to record your friendly neighborhood Spurs podcast.
And Zach Montana. Zach, what's up with you, baby?
I'm chilling. It's Saturday. There's sports on all day. There's great fights tonight. This is going to be a one for the books, as they say.
Speaking of fights, Zach, I heard you got into a bit of a brawl with a barrier on a roadway. I saw your. I still haven't seen the like bike ride tracker app data for when you
I'll bring it. Just keep talking. I'll show the people.
It's 18 miles an hour to 3 really fast. How you feeling, buddy? I know you fell on your butt a little bit.
My mom hated to hear that I fell, but she also hated to hear that I told her after the fact I feel very durable afterwards, and she said, "Don't say that. You are not allowed. You are not allowed to say that." And I said, "Okay."
Maybe even unkillable.
And that's what I meant when I said durable. I was like, I felt durable, and she was like, "Zach, that's not funny." I said, "Okay."
Oh man, I mean, get into your late 30s. I feel very undurable, various creaks and stuff in your body and changing of the weather and like, oh, that's true what they say about your knee.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting there, man. I'm officially 30 now. I'm like, and somebody asked me, "How's it feel?" And I was like, "I've felt 30 for at least 4 years." So the same, but it's definitely getting even older. Hey,
Tom, you finished your Saturn's return.
Here we go, boys.
That's amazing.
I can show you the Strava ride, and you can see me eating shit in live time. So I'm down the road.
This isn't good for the podcast listeners, but for those
you probably can't see it. You see the miles per hour, and it just drops. I ate shit, fellas, and then I rode 14 miles back home. I was really ego hurt. My pride was beat up, but I'm here. I'm scratched up. My hands look all jacked up. Whatever. We'll survive.
And I know that the main way that the viewers and listeners of this show can help you out is by liking, subscribing, telling your friends and enemies. I knew I had to get it in there because otherwise Aaron was going to get mad at me.
Great segue.
Yeah, YouTube, baby. There's buttons down here. Click them all. Press them. Type stuff into your keyboard. Type stuff into your keyboard in the comment section. Tell us what you want us to talk about on the next episode of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour. We're all about community and conversation. And, in a world where there's so much of that is noxious and terrible, we want to create our own that is positive and constructive and, fun. And boy, do we have a fun episode today. I don't know about you guys, but I've been waiting for this for years. Years and
Tom,
years.
Even though we're in the desert of, quote unquote NBA content, an oasis was founded by Pablo Torre in the recent weeks.
Oh my goodness. There is truly nobody doing it like Pablo Torre right now. Introducing sports fans to what investigative journalism is. What a legend. And Aaron, what bomb did Pablo Torre drop on this otherwise rather innocuous NBA offseason?
Zach, do you mind if I do an impression of you to just do the TLDR on this?
What you gotta do, bro?
Why sorry ass got paid more money and didn't do shit?
Why sorry ass got paid more money than his shoe sponsorship to not do shit? That's how you should have put it.
Very serious allegations of salary cap circumvention. Brazen and hilarious salary cap circumvention by the Los Angeles Clippers and Steve Ballmer, the richest owner in the sport and like 6th richest person on the planet Earth. Allegedly, there was, well, I say allegedly, the reporting is damning. The details are like numerous.
And just to interject real quick here, as Zach said, we're recording this on Sunday morning. The story keeps
Yep.
evolving. Pablo puts something out, then some other richer person says something about it. Then Pablo goes LOL, and then yeah, there's a lot of back and forth currently.
What we're saying is it could get even more damning, but to wit, here's what we know already. Uh, a company called Aspiration was like, "Hey folks, we're gonna, you pay us money, we'll plant trees that cancel out your carbon credits, or rather, we're not gonna plant the trees. We'll just make sure the trees get planted for you." You know,
Yeah, they did not actually plant trees. They were like a broker for planting trees so that people who went on private jets could feel better about themselves. It was like, oh, Drake, like you want to make that flight from Toronto to LA in your private jet? Bro, just tell us how many trees you need to be planted. And then Aspiration never did that. In fact, yeah, they told a bunch of these celebrities like do this. One of the funniest ones that has not been mentioned, but would have been a great meme, would have been Taylor Swift because like there's always these memes about like Taylor Swift goes to the bathroom and it's a plane like crashing into a bathroom or something.
it would have
So
been very
yeah,
funny if she was involved, but Drake, you mentioned, uh, Robert Downey Jr. did like a
was a spokesperson.
see voiceover ad for them. Um, Leo DiCaprio, who's one of the more famous, like, environmentally minded celebrities that we have. All of these people, uh,
Cindy Crawford.
like major sports teams
They
and
wanted to put their
venue.
name on the front of the Intuit Dome. I mean,
They
Yeah.
actually, their deal with the Clippers was far more ridiculous than that because they paid naming rights money to not get the naming rights. They agreed to like a 300 million plus dollar deal with the Clippers for the Intuit Dome, which notably is not named the Aspiration Dome. They were a founding partner in the Intuit Dome. They were supposed to get the name on the jersey patch. They were supposed to have they had some branding and signage throughout the arena and near the courtside seats. All of this stuff. $300 million. That's a lot of money for a company that says we're gonna plant some trees for you. This seems a little
Now,
fishy, right?
Tom, in the spirit of the LA Clippers, I want to do a little lob city here to my boy Zach Montana.
okay.
Okay. Now, Zach, I'm going to quote, uh, Dave Chappelle, one of Dave Chappelle's skits here. Okay. If you got hate in your heart, let it out. So for this here, this story is interesting to us as Spurs fans because it involves some people we don't like. And so, Zach, I'm just going to alley-oop it to you here, buddy. What don't we like about this? Who don't we like in this
What are they
situation?
hiding in New York still, or what? Are we hiding? Are we hiding in New York when people show up to talk to you? Is that Kawhi's next step? Are we gonna run away from team officials, NBA officials now, to not answer questions? Gonna get subpoenaed and just go hide behind the door? Is that what we're doing? Uncle Dennis is gonna save him again, or is Uncle Dennis the issue? Which is what we said for years. The same Uncle Dennis that had him showing up late to an All-Star game when he was with the Spurs. The same Uncle Dennis that went to 7 different doctors to get the answer they wanted. Now that sounds like someone looking for an answer, not wanting to accept what's going on. Oh, by the way, that person who gave him the answer, the doctor, was also the team doctor for the 76ers, who, by the way, were trying to trade for Kawhi Leonard after the so-called injury. We're not going to get into all that. That's way too much into it. But,
Remembering some stuff now.
it's just, I mean, it's just not the night. It's just, we told you so. That guy was shady. He's a shady guy. Some people just operate in shady ways, and Uncle Dennis might be a catalyst and might be a shady guy. Shocking to Spurs fans. Not really, though.
So I think it's worth noting some of the incredibly hilarious and incriminating details about this whole story.
Not
One
just
of
Steve
them,
Ballmer though. It's the whole organization's involved.
the whole thing, right? Steve
The
Ballmer,
other Dennis.
The other Dennis. Uh, but let's start with Steve Ballmer, who invested $50 million into this company,
And
Aspiration.
and another 10 on top of that got reported last night.
Just reported another 10 on top. Um, After another Clippers related investment that we'll get into. But let's start with the 50 because that's a nice even number. And you know what is a number that is slightly below that but very close to it is $48 million, which is the total compensation for Kawhi Leonard on a no-show contract. It was like every element of the contract was like, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just not do anything if it doesn't align with your beliefs, which we're not going to define in any way. Um, One thing that we can terminate this contract for, though, is if you fail to continue to play for the Clippers. um, so
Now
that's fair.
that part of it is a little in contention, as like, other teams do have similar clauses, but basically it's because the team facilitates an introduction to the sponsors, is like my understanding.
And if it's the
Um
jersey patch sponsor, right? You know,
yeah, but I mean, to your point though, even in like the latest reporting where I was like, no, we did have clauses that like he could do stuff for us. And it's like, but he still didn't. There's like a lot of evidence that he didn't even like anything. And further, there was this really funny one from years ago where the Clippers were like, it's like at aspiration night or something. I don't know if you guys saw this one, but if you clicked on the at aspiration, it was a person's personal Twitter account. It wasn't even the company like Twitter account on it. So it was just like, what was this? And then further, like I don't understand how the CEO thinks he's doing himself, or former CEO is like doing himself any favors when he's like, yeah, I mean, we had clauses in it where he could work, and it's like, but he didn't. He didn't work. He didn't do
You know how
anything.
funny it is
the thing
oh,
about
sorry. You know how funny it is for Kawhi Leonard to have something called a no-show contract, a no-show thing, and it's like that is literally like his nickname for the Spurs fans. He's a no-show. It's like he no-showed for a whole season when he got cleared. He was cleared to play basketball, mind you. He played 9 basketball games for the Spurs. And then
is
the same Uncle Dennis was asking for ownership stakes in the Toronto Raptors. And this guy is just a shady guy.
Maple
Oh, they
Leafs,
would.
Toronto Maple
Excuse me.
Leafs. So Zach, I I don't disagree with you that Uncle Dennis is a shady guy. I think Uncle Dennis is a shady guy. I think Kawhi could have done himself some favors with representation better. There's also a part of me that's like, man, this is pretty cool. You got $48 million, which to me is like
Oh
life-changing
yeah.
money, life-changing money. And I'm not a good basketball player. I don't have skills that within our society would deem $48 million worth of anything. Um, but to make $48 million and do nothing, like on its surface, like if we just remove the names, I'd be like, that is tight.
the
Like, good for
funniest
you.
moments of the whole podcast. At this point, Pablo's done 3 episodes on this. First one, Bombshell, woo, crazy. Second one, Mark Cuban decided to talk, which is hilarious in its own right. About like Steve Ballmer maybe just like was duped. Uh, so that was a funny one. And then new episode about another like really damning smoking gun investment from the only other owner of the Clippers of $2 million, uh, like bought in to a company that he had to know was going bankrupt
Because
before,
his daughter worked there.
but his daughter worked there, and like you know like he at that point the deal between the Clippers and them was already on the rocks, right? So um a few weeks later, Kawhi gets paid $1.75 million, and the you know 20% of the workforce was laid off also. Uh, so, but one of the funniest moments of the entire first episode is like a source within Aspirations, uh, like finance department, is on the voice modulator talking, and he's like, "Listen, it's within my personal belief system to get paid $28 million to do fuck all." You
Right.
know, like that's he's living the dream, right? Um, some other really incredibly funny details here that I need to say out loud. Uh, if you're making a secret shell company to collect shady payments for a for a sponsorship deal that nobody knows about, which seems like not a very good sponsorship and marketing deal, right? Uh, but if you're making a shell company as Kawhi Leonard's representation to take shady payments from Aspiration, calling it KL2 Aspire LLC, like that's just so that's really bad. That's really like that's what are we doing, Uncle Dennis?
He's not hiding it well. And to Zach's point, Uncle Dennis previously asked the Raptors for stake in the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they're like, "But we own the Maple Leafs too." And look, if you're going to be negotiating on behalf of your client, you need to be asking, asking for the moon, and you land it within the stars, something like that. But and it wasn't like a secret. There was like there was a lot of reporting like, by the way, Uncle Dennis is like asking for illegal stuff. Now, not like illegal nefarious within the law, but like illegal within like the collective bargaining agreement of the players. So just want to like state that. All that being said, too, Tom, one other, the first source that Pablo talked to was on the marketing department. The second source from the third episode was in the finance department. Within the marketing team, they said, no, this was a big joke amongst us. Like, we knew what was happening. And I'll just say this from someone who's like worked in startup world. Like, people become like startup culture, for all of its toxicity from the top, it does breed friendships on the bottom, because people kind of know like, huh, this is kind of fucked. Like, I'll actually use this as like a quick aside for myself. I worked for a startup 3.5 years ago, and we knew that the company was going down. We were a remote company and we knew it was going down. You There is some sort of inherent energy or whatever that we could feel amongst our coworkers, like, this isn't going as well as we thought. And we had been given a Series B finance of $120 million the year before. That money was burned off in 12 months, and we knew it. I'll here's like kind of further, like, we flew out to Tampa because our CEO like moved to Tampa, and they were like, "Oh, Tampa is now like being in like given this infusion of like tech and whatnot." And we went there, and there were all these jet skis. It was like a scene out of Silicon Valley. And I remember my coworkers like asking me like, "What do you think of this?" I was like, "When this company goes down, this event's going to be laughed at." And granted, like, did I go to Tampa and like hang out and have a good time? Sure. I wasn't paying for the trip. Like, who cares? But uh I would say about 6 months later, I found out I was laid off in a TechCrunch article before I was officially laid off from the company. And so, just to let y'all give kind of like some further like anecdotal background on this, like, people know when a company is not doing well. So if someone's like, how would Dennis Wong's daughter know, like, as a project manager, like strategy? It's like, everybody knows. Everybody knows. Like, people talk with one another. They are very aware of toxic leadership at the top and being like, look, I'm just trying to make a paycheck here. So those things are normalized here. And to the point of where this extra infusion of money came in for someone who is essentially a real estate mogul in California, in Dennis Wong, it's just fishy. It's like I think Pablo had it. It's like reverse insider trading. It's not like he didn't talk to his daughter and be like, "How's work going?" She's like, shit's kind of fucked. And instead of him being like, "Oh, I will buy this company or whatever," instead he goes, "Well, here's a little 2 million for our basketball player." It's too much circumstantial evidence. But the other thing I want to come back to is like, who is responsible at the end of the day for this? And I don't think it's Uncle Dennis. And that goes back to Uncle Dennis. At the end of the day, I don't like him. I never liked the way that he treated the whole Kawhi situation in San Antonio. I didn't like the way Kawhi treated the whole situation in San Antonio. Uncle Dennis, at the end of the day, is advocating for his client, for his family member, whatever. Like, yeah, you're going to ask for some crazy shit. Plenty of owners said no to him. That's where the damning evidence comes in. Is like, who is the onus of responsibility on in this situation? The onus of responsibility is on Steve Ballmer. Okay, he's the one who said yes. He's the one who did this. And if we want to have like
Investigated in 2019. Like
yeah,
it's not like any of that is new information. We knew that this is a shady character who asked for stuff that was explicit. He asked for partial ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers. Like, which is
you
hilarious,
can
by the way.
you'll be able to do that in LeBron's new international league in the future, because I think that's what he's trying to bring about is like players actually have an equity in the team. But yeah, that's not the way that the NBA is structured right now. Um, Further with like Steve Ballmer, he's doing all these other things that are like off the cap sheet, which is fine. He's like, he paid for his new arena, he's paid for this amazing medical and training staff. Like, at the end of the day, again, I think Steve Ballmer overall, for the good of the NBA, has been a net good up until this point. Up until this point, it's like, yo, if I'm an owner and you're doing cap circumvention this blatantly, and you are essentially taking money out of other owners' pockets because you're not paying into the luxury tax, that's a problem. But to Steve Ballmer, he's been a vocal leader. We see him being a weirdo on the sidelines. He throws a lot of money. Like, those are the things overall that like I would want, a good owner to do. Um, but when you're doing this so blatantly, it looks so bad, and the league has got to figure out what an appropriate punishment is for this that sends a message to him, which is really hard to do because Tom, like you said, he's the sixth richest man in the world. He his net worth that I looked up yesterday, and granted, this is like such a guesstimation, $151 billion.
He's the guy that you make the collective bargaining agreement
He's
and
on the
salary cap.
audit. He's on the audit team for the NBA. Like,
Yeah. Do you guys know how much the collective valuations of every team in the NBA outside of the Clippers is, if you were to aggregate them all together?
like lower 100 million.
It's like 131,
Yeah.
$132 billion.
Like the Holts are only
Steve
500
Ballmer
million.
has Steve Ballmer has enough money to buy the entire league and still have about $20 billion left. Like, that is how rich of a person we're talking about. That is talking, and that's why, like, in the run of show, I'm like, what is the proper punishment
You
here?
can't
What
punish
what do you
him.
guys
You
think?
can't punish him. You had to punish the team. And I think the last time this happened was the Timberwolves in the early 2000s. They got docked 5 first-round draft picks. Like, you have to punish the team. Has to take a hit. There has to be some sort of, hey, like this. And I think an example has to be made because teams, if they just are, give them, if they don't really punish them, other teams are going to do this. Like, this is going to be.
But what is 5 first round picks to the Clippers, who rarely ever draft anyone and have literally an infinite amount of money to go out and get whoever they want?
What if they go the other way? What if Adam Silver is like, man, you did all of that and still like, what do you got to show for it? You know what? You get to do whatever you want, Clippers, and just like shames them. Like no salary cap for the Clippers. You guys do whatever. You're still gonna suck. I think that would be funny.
It's like an experiment. Let's see if the team that spends the most money can win.
That's how you get them. You shame them. But Aaron, you
Milk
said
them dry.
Yeah.
that I'll just push back on a little bit. Ballmer has, I think overall his presence in the league has been very positive. I love what they're doing with the Intuit. I love a lot of stuff that they're doing over there, especially for fans, right? But he did get investigated and fined for salary cap circumvention already. Like offering DeAndre Jordan an outside sponsorship deal. And so there's that history, right? There's a history with Kawhi and Uncle Dennis. There's the history with Steve Ballmer. Even if we disregard these histories, this context entirely, I want to throw out this this question, this metaphor, you know, something that I couldn't stop thinking about after seeing Steve Ballmer's interview with Ramona Shelburne, which was Ramona Shelburne asked, has Uncle Dennis or Kawhi's camp asked for anything that would be considered illegal under the CBA, right? And Steve Ballmer's answer, his non-denial denial, was so amazing I couldn't stop thinking about it. Because, like, Aaron, you're married, right? Let's say that, your wife
Hold
was
on,
like,
for the audio listeners. Yes, I am married. Wifed up.
let's say that your lovely wife was like, hey, like, that lady seemed like she knew you pretty well. Like, is there anything weird going on there? You'd probably answer, no, absolutely not.
Correct.
Right? You probably would not say, well, I'm married and I know the rules, and she knows that I'm married and she knows the rules. And if it's ever not clear what the rules are, we remind ourselves what the rules are. I feel like that would probably not go over well with the old lady, like
that wouldn't go well with a girlfriend, let alone a wife.
It wouldn't go well with anybody.
I'm pretty sure my wife would tell me to move out if I answered something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, well, what even is,
what even is marriage?
Like, oh my goodness, that was bad.
The fact that even Pablo Torre said it. He was like, this is one of my greatest accomplishments is the fact that I got Steve Ballmer to fly to Bristol, Connecticut on a Wednesday, like a day after I dropped the podcast. That's when he knows someone is rattled.
What's really upsetting about that is that there aren't trees to be planted to offset the carbon credits for that big fight cross country.
Mm.
Which we should aspire to.
Yeah. Nice one, Tom.
All right. I think we're wrapped on Kawhi. Have we got it all out?
Zach, you need one more. Zach, let's just let you cook. Zach, you got a minute to just cook on this whole thing. Or I want you to get it out of your system.
Well, I wish I could have told you I saw it coming, but we saw it coming from a mile away. Go ask any normal fan in San Antonio how they feel about Kawhi, and they will tell you that they don't like the guy for other reasons other than his basketball skills. I think he's a great basketball player. Nothing to do with that. I think the lack of communication, the disrespect of Greg Popovich, I will never forgive that man. Greg Popovich can forgive him, and that's between him and Greg. Between me and Kawhi, I will never forgive him because not only did he set our organization back 6 years by doing that, he also tried to run our organization through the mud that anybody else you ask in the league will tell you they're an upstanding organization and do the best for their players and look out for their players. I still have a grudge because once again, you could have been an adult. Like I always say, Kyrie Irving was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Kyrie Irving was a man when he requested a trade and said, "This is why. I want to do my own thing. I want to be my own man." And people can respect that. We knew you wanted to go to California. We're well aware that's where you're from and that's where you want to be. I can accept that if you come out and tell me it and just be an adult about it. But when you run and hide, when you try to drag us through the mud, when you try to drag the medical staff through the mud, I can't forgive you for that. And that's as simple as that.
Yeah, you said you can't forgive. What about, let's throw this out here. Let's throw this out here as a crazy hypothetical.
Okay.
Let's say Kawhi didn't know anything about any of this. He just put his total faith in Uncle Dennis, right? Or let's say that's how they play it, right? You know, whatever it is, somebody's got to go down for it, and he can't get actually punished. But let's say this investigation goes through. The Clippers are like, we are voiding your contract with the Clippers. And Kawhi's like, I had no idea. I was taken advantage of too. You know, screw Uncle Dennis. I'm so sorry to the Spurs and the Raptors and to everybody else. And now he's a free agent. And he's like, you know what? Redemption tour. Comes back to San Antonio on a team friendly.
Fuck no. And to double down on that, to go even further, and to say there will be none of that. You drug us through the mud. I appreciate you winning a championship with us. You're a great player. There's nothing to do with basketball. But you know, some things just there's no you burn the bridge. I'm not gonna send a yacht to come bring you back. That's your own fault. That's a Meek Mill line.
Let me say this before we transition to a more fun topic. Actually, this has been a great topic.
Really
There's not, yeah.
for me.
Remember this, folks. There's a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. Forgiveness is between you, is whether you choose to forgive someone. Zach here is choosing no forgiveness ever. Very fine. You are more than allowed to do that. Reconciliation is between two people. And so reconciliation would be between Kawhi, the greater San Antonio area, the team, even the Clippers at this situation. So just remember, there is a difference between forgiveness being a one-way street, reconciliation is a two-way.
And here's the thing.
I got one last thing. With that being said, no, we're moving on. We're moving on. Well, transitioning off of Kawhi Leonard, Steve Ballmer's Uncle Dennis, and the rest of the Clippers saga, with chimes in from Mark Cuban. Let's talk about something fun that is coming up. Actually, tomorrow, which Sunday when we release this. So if you're standing in line, stay in line for Spurs Fan Tryouts. Victor Wembanyama went on Instagram Live and he was like, we got to have something like the ultras of the European fans in San Antonio. And I think this is a great idea. And the Milwaukee Bucks actually a few years ago had something similar to this where they had a super fan section that was close to the court to be rowdy. And San Antonio Spurs fans in San Antonio, I'm not here to offend anybody. We do have something like this for Austin FC of the supporters section. And I can tell you, it's fucking lit.
Very fun.
There's a band in there. You can't sit down. There are yell leaders that are leading on cheers. And it is dope.
They hand you out a song list.
They smoke bombs. Yeah. They give you a song list. They throw smoke bombs in the crowd. It's tight. Now, granted, I don't know if we can do smoke bombs in an arena or whatever.
Fuck it. Bring flares.
But one thing they did say was bring your own drum. So maybe there is some of that available. And bring a drum, not a djembe, okay? This isn't going to be a drum circle. Like, get loud.
Maybe a snare, please.
Yeah, I would say get a snare, unlock that snare, like open it up, get a very cacophonous sound out of it. Um, so guys, what do y'all think about this? I'm pretty stoked about seeing this type of fan section for San Antonio. Zach, I'm gonna let you go first because when you saw this, you're like, I gotta try out.
Yeah, this is, I think it's hilarious. They're holding from 7 to 9 tomorrow morning on like a Sunday, which tells me that they are wanting the dedicated fans to show up. I wouldn't be surprised. This is San Antonio we're talking, guys. There were people camping out for the Manu Ginobili missions jersey for a missions game for the first 100 people or first 1,000 people that got it. You telling me that there aren't fans going to be camping out tonight at the Frostbank Center, going to be nice and greased up tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning, drinking all night? They're going to be ready to go tomorrow morning. This is like, I don't like, nah, this is going to be great. This is exactly what the Spurs need. I think they're transitioning. This is, I think, more of a bigger picture thing too for the Spurs. I think they, with the new stadium looming, they might be seeing, how they can incorporate that in the new stadium if it does get built. And with the memberships and all those things, it seems like a super sick concept. And Wemby has said multiple times that he wants to be very involved. This is like his baby. He'll be there tomorrow. I think this is. I had a tweet and it was like, I don't think he understands what he just opened. Like you can't put. I always say that you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. It's like I don't. He late March game. Spurs are in the playoff hunt. They're playing, we already went over the schedule a few episodes ago about how the back end of the season has a bunch of good playoff contending games. We're going to be, in these dogfights late in the season. You're telling me that these Spurs fans aren't going to be riled up? You tell me that these guys aren't going to, and they're going to be told to get there an hour before the game. These guys are going to be greased up. Guys and girls will be greased up, so amplified, ready to go. Flags, drums.
Zach, you've said greased up a few
They're going to be
times
greased
now.
up, lubed up, greased up,
Hey,
whatever you want to
Um,
yo.
call it. You can call it whatever you want.
are we thinking about like the greased up guy from Family Guy or liquored
Just
up? Like, what
liquored
are we
up,
talking here?
liquored up. They're going to be ready to go. You get in the I think it was $999, and I think you get access to all 41 games. I don't. They haven't really specified how you can. There's like you register to get your tickets, you get a parking pass. I was talking to a guy on Tuesday, and he was a massive Spurs fan. And he was like, "Dude, this is an unbelievable deal." And I'm like, "Yeah, as a season ticket holder, you're getting a ridiculous deal. You might have to stand, but I would love to stand every game and just cheer the whole time too. Like that is the ideal Spurs fan."
Ooh, I love sitting until it's like
Nah.
a big deal in the game
I'm a
personally these
stand. I'm a
days, but that's
stand and
me.
ADHD vibes the whole fucking game. That's me.
So, AB, you brought up Austin FC, right? And we're all Austinites. Uh, those games are a ton of fun, and I'm an Austin FC fan, and I can tell you that that team has been pretty good at times. It's also been really awful at times. Like they've gone like 10 game stretches without a goal,
Last year,
right?
honking.
Every one of those home games, though, people are standing up for 90 minutes of game time plus stoppage time, screaming their heads off, throwing whatever beverage they have in their hand straight into the air if a goal is scored. You know, uh, people going nuts for the entirety of it, whether that team is good, great, or awful. And I think that, Wemby through though he hasn't seen the worst of it, which is, before there was a Wemby, he has seen this team at sort of low points, right? And so um, I can imagine him looking around the Frostbank Center on, a Tuesday night when he's in sweatpants and they're getting their butts kicked or whatever, and looking around and being like, man, I wish there was like 3,000 people right about there that were just like, feeding the energy, right? Like this is like a make the baseline bums like a legion, like just like as like it, I'm excited to see what this can look like for the San Antonio Spurs, a newly energized and
And
reason to.
maybe this is giving the Spurs an idea, but I'm sure people in that organization have been to an Austin FC game. That supporter section, when we say you can't sit, they screw the
Yeah,
seats like where you could sit to the back. You cannot
they
sit
locked
down.
them.
Like it's yeah,
You're not allowed in the
and
section if you're not wearing team
Yeah, you gotta have
colors.
green on.
yeah, and to Tom's point, yes, I've sat in that section a few times. It is so much fun to get beer thrown on you when a goal is scored. But I'm not making the tryouts tomorrow. I thought about maybe hitting up the team and seeing if we could go cover people standing in line, but like 7 a.m. That's asking a bit much for your boy. But I want you guys to get creative, and I want y'all to tell me what you think, what you would do to prove your Spurs fandom to
I
Wimby
think you show.
and the rest
I
of the
have
team.
this would have been my play. This would have been my play. I get my biggest buddy, my buddy who squats the most, and I say,
So me,
okay, I say,
okay,
so you and I
yeah.
show up. I wear a very large Wimby jersey that's way bigger than me. We basically do what they did. I get on your shoulders, and then you wear the shorts, and so we look like one big Wimbenyama walk in, and then we are just that is who we are. That is who so we look like we're like, yo, we're 8 feet tall. We're just like you, but we're gonna be in the stands and we're gonna scare the team from the stands like you scare them from the court. Just a combination. That's how I'm
Can
rocking.
you imagine they give you one ticket for two people and you have to be in character
You
the
have to
entire
walk in.
game and the
Front row, front
people
row.
standing behind you are just like, what the
They have to
fuck,
wand you
dude?
and scan your ticket as one when you walk in.
That's great.
Oh
I
my
love that idea.
That's really good, Zach. Oh goodness. I like that you're the one on the shoulders and
Yes.
not the one that has to walk
No.
around with another
Yeah,
dude on
yeah,
him
yeah, yeah. I know.
for
I
your
will.
revenge.
I will just chill all day, just all day.
Oh my God, that's
Tom,
good.
what would you do?
So the getting on people's shoulders takes me back to a younger, dumber, simpler time in my life, when I was a freshman at Northeastern University, and the Boston Red Sox were in the World Series, um, and like they were doing baseball tonight out on Yawkey Way, um, and I just wanted to get internet famous, so I got my friend who was the tallest, didn't squat the most, like a little bit of a string bean. Love him. Shout out Ryan. Ryan getting married in a week. Gonna go see him. It'll be fun. Hi Ryan. Um, but yeah, I got on his shoulders behind baseball tonight and ripped off my shirt and poured soda on myself. There's apparently a new Dr. Pepper guy, so I'm buried in the search results. But
You've gotten
yeah,
replaced.
I would probably do that just now. It wouldn't get stuck in my hair, so that's good. But yeah, I would crack open a nice, crisp, refreshing Dr. Pepper, maybe
Are you
Dr.
gonna do
Pepper
it right now?
Zero.
You can do it right now.
Um, I'm not gonna do it right now because
Ah,
I'm inside in my office.
He
I
doesn't have a tarp underneath his
damn it!
right,
I
desk.
thought you were
right.
prepared.
Just like I wasn't. I mean, it's I messed up. Okay, what do you want? What do you want me to say? I screwed up.
I think if it was better brand synergy, you'd get like one of the HEB sodas.
I mean, we could do that. Which insert your soda here. Potent, potential new friends of the show and sponsors. We should get an official beverage. We should get an official. What should we get official things for the Silver Black Coffee Hour for sponsorships? This could be
Coffee.
an ad for This could be an ad read for toilet paper or wipes for your butt, for example. You know?
Always
Sure,
need
but
those.
I wanna pitch y'all on my idea just to keep this a little more on the rails.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right.
I I would I'd like to go out to West Texas and be abducted by an alien
Okay.
and teach them the ways of basketball, only for them to come to tryouts tomorrow and then realize that they're related to Victor Wembanyama and him be like, "Oh no, I got it. I'm already trying to save the human race here." I think that would be the best way for me to prove my fandom. So yeah,
That you're basically family.
yeah. When you're here, you're
Yeah,
family.
there you go.
What is that like?
We should get back to Planet Wemby soon. See how they're doing up there. How they've been following all the developments. I think I still got those sunglasses. Um,
Somewhere.
it's somewhere. There's somewhere. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what all comes out of the Spurs fan tryouts. I hope we get highlights. I hope we get a highlight reel.
They had to make a highlight reel. It's
Yeah.
gonna be this.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like Drewski's like what is it? The stupid show he does.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully they set it up like that, and they just have Wimby at a table. And you
Yeah,
gotta go.
Wemby's sitting at the desk like, nah, nah.
That would be hilarious.
I feel like Taylor and the content team are going to be really on top of it.
I'm sure they do
For
a great job over
for
there.
they've been crushing it.
One piece of content that I saw that was, you know, it was up and then it was down. Uh, it was a dunk by Stefan Castle, and it was a dunk, maybe probably on Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper, who we now know is recovering from surgery on a partially torn ligament in his left thumb. So, reporting around this is that he could be ready to go for the season opener, if not the matchup with first overall pick Cooper Flag. Um, but yeah, what are your thoughts on this news, Zach? Uh, coming into the season, obviously not ideal.
Not ideal, but it's a thumb injury. He can keep his cardio up. That's good. He won't show up out of shape. It doesn't seem like it's going to hamper him too long with it being partially torn. And on top of the fact, this is why we talk about for so long. This is exactly why the Spurs have a lot of ball handlers. This is goes to the reasoning why hey, it never hurts to have 2 to 3 to 4 guys that can do these things because a guy might not be here for a few weeks. And I'm not too concerned. Once again, this team was going to be very well set up with or without Dylan Harper. I think Dylan will ease his way into the season. And I think off the bench is going to be ideal for him to get his groove going. So this doesn't really concern me too much in the long run. For the first few games, yeah, he'll probably be a little rusty, but this is a no biggie for me.
Yeah, I think as much as one of these things can be, I do think there's a bit of a blessing from a rotational aspect to this. So being able to just say, this is the starting rotation. You're coming off the bench. You'll be able to ramp up um, as a rookie coming off the bench for now. Um, I think that's good. I also think that um, the team, for what it's worth, is I'm going to call it deep. And the only reason I'm putting the quotations and marks around deep is we do have a lot of guys that we've seen play that can play that are on decent enough contracts, but well, and I still believe you have to go through an NBA season like testing that depth, but this kind of once again like helps solidify even a little bit more of that. And the only thing I'm worried about is just not getting full on more of that training camp aspect. But it does seem like a number of the players have been
Yep.
playing together in San Antonio throughout the summer. Between De'Aaron Fox saying, "Hey, I'm not like really feeling up to China," and he's staying in town. Then Jeremy Salihan, like, you know, we got a little something here. I'm not feeling up for Eurobasket, which the Polish team actually played pretty well, by the way. But
And
we got the team.
Sandro Mamukelashvili for Georgia, man. Shout outs to Mamu.
Yeah, man, he was crushing it out there. So the team, I think, has already been focused on this season. I'm hopeful with Harper that he will, to Zach's point, like come in. I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of him. And even if he still gets to come in and run, 10 minutes or something with the team in the opener or whatever, great. But it also solidifies a little bit more of the Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper talk for now.
Yeah,
What do you got, Tom?
it's a good example of how having all of those ball handlers, um, some redundancy is good for when you need it. Redundancy is something that you can take for granted until you need it, and then once you need it, if you have it, you're like, oh, thank God we have this. And if you don't have it, you're like,
I wish we had
man, I wish we had that.
that.
And so, I think it speaks to how the long-term vision of this will work because I don't think all three of those guys are going to play all 82 games and then 82 games after that. Um, but on the rotational level, I think it is, you know, I think the thing that made sense was for him to come in off the bench, regardless of what happened. This sort of forces the hand there. But uh, I think that is going to be a positive developmental thing for young Mr. Harper. It sucks that it's his left hand, uh, and we know, De'Aaron Fox was really productive last season. Um, I am very excited to see how he looks when the fingers on his dominant hand are pointing the right way, you know? Um, so it's uh it's definitely like good that it's getting taken care of before the season. It's never a good time to have an injury, but this is one that it seems like the injury is you know, one that he can recover from rather quickly or should be able to. And one that, with the timing, with the recovery, he should be able to ease his way in, but he'll also have to ease his way in, which is, you know, probably the way
Yeah,
it's done anyway.
yeah, I agree with that. So, um, one last thing before we go. I do want to just shout out the Spurs for going and surprising those kids at Ingram High School this week. Uh, Wemby having none of it from even kids who dealt with torrential flooding and blocking that kid and dunking on him. He did travel though. Just want y'all to know that video he is traveling.
Well, we'll let it slide.
But
They wouldn't call it in the NBA.
oh no, I think that one they would have, man. It was pretty egregious. Uh but with that being said, I thought that was just such a really cool moment for the team to do that and surprise those kids and really make their day. Um just like that really warmed my wife and I's heart. As we've talked about before, my wife is from Kerrville, and to see that from the team was just like really cool.
What I noticed from Wimby on that real quick was he was the first one out of the tunnel, leading the team out. Um, Clearly wants to be the leader of this team, which is great to see. Also, you could see the joy on his face with everything that happened with him last season, with not being around the team and the fans and all that stuff. You could just see like he came out and the kids were going crazy as they should, and the fact you could just see like it almost is like that was his like okay, I'm cleared, I'm back. Like this is like you could just see that kind of like uplift off his shoulders, like okay, now we're gonna get going again. So I was excited to see
Yeah.
that too. And
It gets me hyped for this coming season, y'all. And I think not maybe the next episode in the next couple weeks, but soon we will have our official Silver and Black Coffee Hour podcast season preview. September 29th is media days with the team right before they begin training camp. I think the next episode we'll have will be like the day after that. We're still working on some other things to help with getting us back in the studio in person over at Tom's. And with that, I want to just ask like anything else before we sign off, fellas?
Yeah, I watched. I got to, I was sitting around doing nothing and saw some highlights come on my timeline, and it was Wemby against the Bucks, January 31st. With, by the way, had DVT at that time, and it was honestly, I was like, fuck, I cannot wait for this season to come up. Like he went 30, 15, and 6 blocks, and I was like, man, I need this. So that's my final.
I think we're
Injected
like
into my
40 days
veins.
in the desert, 40 more days in the desert, maybe 38 by the time you hear this. It's rapidly approaching. I'm excited.
Has this
I'm
offseason
excited.
felt longer to y'all?
Yes.
For me, it's felt longer.
It's taken forever for me. I don't know. I think it's because I'm,
Antsy.
it's long. It's long in the sense that I want to get back to it. It's short in the sense that we're gonna get back to it soon, and it's gonna be a deluge of Spurs basketball, which I'm very excited for, and I'm excited to hear from you, the listener, the viewer. Please like, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section down there, and ask us what you want to know about the Spurs' upcoming season. We're hoping to do a lot more covering of this team. We're hopefully going to be up at Media Day. And so, if we see good questions that we want to see answered ourselves, we may go ask the people who you most want to hear from. So leave those comments down below. And like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Be kind to one another out there.
I think we're good there.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see y'all later. Peace.